Namaste and welcome to another episode of Amazing Vedas with Dr. Parikshit Singh. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And with your permission, I'm going to shift a little bit out of our discussion of the Vedas, especially the Vedic deities, and try to relate the content, try to relate what we do on a weekly basis with our daily lives. And as you know, last night you quoted something amazing that you just came across. It popped up on your screen, as you said, from Sri Aurobindo. And since we do follow Sri Aurobindo's methodology, so to speak, in opening up the Vedas, we've been insisting on this podcast that we should not treat the Vedas as something extremely inaccessible, remote, a closed book, but actually a world of wonder and wisdom which opens up. And the more you open yourself to it, the more it starts affecting your life. It creates a kind of alchemy. And let's demonstrate it in actual life, right? So, as you all know, Dr. Singh runs a very complicated and fairly large business. You know, it's a medical services company. But here's the point. Let me just go right to the quotation that he came across from Sri Aurobindo. So, with your permission, Dr. Singh, I'm going to go ahead and read this quotation. And then I want you to tell us your own experience of how this quotation triggered something in your own understanding of, decision making, leadership, of how life works. So I'll get to the quotation right away. Quote, "This is a great secret of sadhana, to know how to get things done by the power behind or above, instead of doing it all by the mind's effort. I don't mean to say that the mind's effort is unnecessary or has no result. Only if it tries to do everything by itself, that becomes a laborious effort for all except the spiritual athletes." So this is a quotation from Sri Aurobindo's Letters on Yoga, Volume 2. So I'll turn it over straight to you, Dr. Singh.
I think that quote itself is sufficient. But it's a very powerful technique. It's actually, and I didn't realize it. I think I read it a long time ago, and just like one of those pieces of information that you read and that are not practical for you, it's all very abstract until it becomes a living thing for you. So over the years, after almost 40 years of trying to plow along, a couple of things at least that we can do is, one is the ability to turn inside and connect with something deeper. And the mind or the mental consciousness or your emotional or physical awareness can connect with something deeper and just stay there. With something very intimate, something that is true, something that is pure. And that has developed over the years. Whatever name is given to it is a different issue. To me, it's a very protective, kind of a motherly connection. You hold it and all your troubles, difficulties, kind of start going away in that. So
No, let me be a little more specific, if you don't
yeah,
mind, which is that as we were speaking about this last evening, it seemed like
yes,
a breakthrough. See, you face a challenge in the business world or in your life, or you want to get something accomplished. For Gen Z, you want a career, maybe you want to get into Berkeley or Stanford or Harvard or whatever. You have these goals, and basically there are two ways to do it if we understand Sri Aurobindo, which is, one is you use your own effort, you use your own mind.
yes,
The other is to let something else do that job for you. That something else you may
yes,
call divine
yes,
help or divine force or the force. As in the Star Wars, they say, may the force be with you. So you've got a very little character. I mean, he looks small like Master Yoda, and he
right,
fights these big, powerful, extremely, whatever, violent forces, and he does it very simply. So this is what I want to ask, that suppose I'm a young person and I want to pass a difficult exam, or I want to get into medical school, or I want to become a lawyer, I want to get into the best law school nearby. One is I study really hard, I do everything myself, but Sri Aurobindo says this is very laborious. Or I get these amazing powers, all these divine dudes, as it were. They just come to my help, and what happens? Something happens, right? So you tell us, because you've been living this, and I've seen your style of leadership. And one thing I want to say from what I have learned observing you is you don't foreclose options, and you don't jump in and try and take sides in a very complex and multi option type of situation. You just stand back, as it were, and you let the whole thing play itself out. So what kind of technique is this?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. So the key is to find a hook, to find a connection with something bigger, better, truer than you. When I say than you, is just the physical appearance, the personality, the mental, the emotional, all that we have. But there is something deeper in us, or something higher above us, to connect to that. And that is something that just grew over the years. It's just to be clinging to the divine. That's the only word I can use. Just hug the divine and hold, right, that higher power. And of course, as you know, last 2 years have been extremely difficult. Healthcare industry the whole industry has faced a tumultuous and intervention by the government, where everything was changed, and a lot of companies went bankrupt, and we had to kind of hold it and turn it around, and tremendous pressure. Of course, we have to take care of employees. We had to let go of almost 1/4 of them. We have to take on our insurance companies, and then still be able to take care of patients with the reduced amount of funding. And it has been very challenging, to say the least. So, and it was very painful I've never experienced this kind of difficulty in my life. So the only thing that it would hurt, it was painful, letting go of my employees, all these people we had known for years, letting go, it would hurt, really painful. So I would just hold on to the with whatever power I had, to that connection that I have developed over the years, and just hold it, and then turn this over to the challenge, the difficulty, because at one point things were hopeless. So just turn that problem over to that higher power and leave it there.
So, so,
And
so would you say that a non-interventionist invocation, as it were, of these higher powers or divinities is, in times of great stress and anxiety or uncertainty, can be a big aid, rather than trying to take charge and sort of do everything on one's own? With
it
one's own
is,
limited capacities, we end up doing stuff that we shouldn't, or we make mistakes. So, I mean, I think it's a new style of leadership. But I mean, what we talked about last night, and which made me think also, is that what Sri Aurobindo is saying is that, look, there's a lot of stuff and a lot of help in this universe, the potencies. If only you know how to access them. You don't have to do
yes,
everything yourself.
yes,
In other
yes.
words, see, the point I'm raising is that you can either think about living in a world which is indifferent and cold and completely, uncaring, mercilessly, you might say, uninterested in the human or in your own individual life or outcome, which is a kind of materialist scientific approach, because they say, well, the universe is cold. In fact, it's literally cold, and only, there are a few warm spaces like our planet, luckily. You can take that modern materialist approach, or you can also take a sort of slightly traditionalist religious approach where you say, oh my, you're born in sin and this is a terrible world, or it's a world full of dukkha and you're all alone. And, if you don't save yourself, maybe you'll end up in a very, very hot place, for a very, very long time or whatever. But instead, the Vedic world is very different, where the human and the divine, the world of the gods or the world of these shining beings, which we've been talking about and getting to know, and our own world has a wonderful connection, and you're not alone. Even in the times of greatest adversity and challenge, there are forces at play to help you along. And if you take this slightly non interventionist, which I call non interventionist, maybe you can explain it better, there is a kind of interplay of forces, and you can coast along. And I mean, I like what you said to me yesterday. Gosh, had I known this 40 years earlier, I wouldn't have had to work so hard. I would have just asked all the divine forces to do my work. And is that true? Suppose I'm a young person and I have a difficult exam or have a goal or whatever. Can I just say, hey, you do my work? Or even that surrender, maybe that's a special quality because we can't give up, right?
Yeah, so the art is not to become lazy. It's not, okay, I'm not going to do anything and I'm going to become, I'm going to just be a couch potato. No, nothing. No one, you have to work hard. But having put in your effort, purusharth, as they say, then you turn it over to the universe, turn it to the divine very closely. It's not it's okay, detached kind of giving. It's a very intimate connection. And in that intimate connection, you say, okay, this is what it is. And you're totally open to possibilities. You're open to it failing because, well, I don't know whether it's going to succeed, whether it's the best thing for me or not. Maybe it's supposed to fail. Maybe that's the best thing, that I fail here and something good will come out of that failure. And that's totally okay. And that happens. So I'm not judging, I'm not directing it in a particular, towards a particular result. All I'm saying is, this is where I am. This is totally open. Now, this is yours. Now, take it. Now it's yours. The ball is, you hand it over and run with it.
See,
And
this is very profound because even young people I talk to, see,
yeah,
they have a fixed outcome in mind, okay?
yes,
And they want something, let's say. They made that their goal. And then they want the divine to, as it were, become a subordinate entity, a helper, or whatever. What you're trying to tell us, if I understand you correctly, is you can't do that. You have to be completely open and non prejudicial when it comes even to outcomes. You can't
yes,
cling neither to the means nor the ends. You have to be radically open. Now, that is very hard because many people are afraid, oh my goodness, I'll lose my house, I'll lose my job, or whatever it is. I'm just conjecturing, or my career will go bust. But if you're like that, if you're clinging to specific aims and outcomes, then this is not the path. Or is
yes.
it?
No, you cannot. So think of it in quantum terms. They say there are multiple universes that are available right now, that are a potential right now, at this very moment, right here. These multiverses are a potentiality. The cloud of probability is here. Any of them can manifest, or as the curve collapses, they can happen. Now, the moment you choose, the moment you say, this is where it's going to be, you've already collapsed the curve. You don't want to collapse the curve because you don't know what is best for you. So you have to trust existence.
Wow.
You have to realize that even your idea about what is good for you is a very limited idea. In fact, most of the time it is wrong. It is not the best thing for you because you don't know what more is in store. So be open to it. That maybe something 10 times more beautiful. You don't know. So why don't you allow that possibility to manifest and not close off that possibility? Don't turn it away.
So, so,
Oftentimes we,
so this
yeah,
is so good. Now to wrap up, this episode, how do the amazing Vedas, which we have been exploring, kind of help us to reach that state of radical openness? Because frankly, I mean, it's happening in our lives. I can't explain it. Like, I got the idea that we should talk about this particular thing
yes,
in the shower this morning because I said the amazing Vedas are not about some books or some compendium of hymns or even some notion of abstract knowledge. They're actually very living. And once you connect with this whole way of being, then so many new things open up. So,
yes.
I mean, I see that happening. So please connect this whole radical openness and the help that's always available with what we're trying to do in the Amazing Vedas.
So Amazing Veda is not just a book. It's not something that was done for you and you just read from it, you chant, and it's over. So technically, I mean, the understanding is the Veda is always here. This is the real Veda. This is alive. So you have to access it. That knowledge and the system that Veda is to see, right? Vid is to see. Vid is also to know,
No, to know.
right? It's a system. It's a complete system that you have access to all the time. You just don't believe yourself. So how do you do that? You work hard, do everything. Don't cling to the result. Cling to the divinity within. That is what you cling to, and everything will be delivered for you. Everything will be done. The best outcome, best potential possibility will manifest itself. We are able to give birth to the gods. That is what is described in the Veda. We give birth to the gods, the Deva, the super powerful being. We give birth to them right here. We have that power. We have to realize we have that power and let it happen rather than foreclosing on the possibility of something really beautiful happening here. That is the genius of the Veda. Multiple worlds, universes we inhabit at the same time. 7 lokas, they say. We live those 7 lokas at the same time. And it describes them how beautifully. So they are right here. Allow them to manifest through this name and form, through this channel. That's what I understand in my
No,
limited
that's
way.
that's great. So I can try and sum that up in one sentence, which is, look, friends, viewers, young folks, whatever, the amazing Vedas are you. You are the amazing Vedas. So, unzip that file, unzip that potency, open it up and let it rip. Okay. On that note,
That's right.
thank you all very much for joining. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on Amazing Vedas on X. Thank you, Dr. Singh, and see you again soon.
Thank you.
Namaste.